Today I'm going to show you how to sew a super easy pair of knit socks. You're going to use a knit fabric with at least 50% stretch for this project, and this is a great scrap buster. The pattern pieces for this are below in a link in the description box, or if you're watching from our website, alohasewingcompany.com, welcome and sew along. The pattern pieces for this are included for children and adults as well. You're making 2 socks, so you're gonna cut out 2 of each fabric. This is the front of your sock, this is the heel of your sock, and this is the bottom sole of your sock. This is the cuff band. We're going to work with the heel and the sole of your sock. The heel has a straight edge at the top, and what you wanna do is go ahead and match up the rounded edge of your heel with the rounded edge of either side of the sole of your fabric. We are going to then fold this right where the curve starts along your toe. You can fold it and make a crease, or you can just make 2 pins or clips to let you know where that line is. Because for right now, we are only going to sew right around that curve from your first pin or clip or fold to the next. You can use a sewing machine or a serger for this. If you are using a sewing machine, use a zigzag stitch or your sewing machine's stretch stitch. Here is mine using my serger. Now the next thing you want to do is just go ahead and flip this right side out. You can see how it looks like the bottom of a sock now. Go ahead and turn this so that the fabric is right side up facing you. And then what I like to do before we start the next step is go ahead and fold the heel right here inwards and pin or clip it together, so that way we make sure we don't catch it with our machine as we're sewing the front of our sock onto this piece. Now get the fabric for the front of your sock and lay it with the pretty side facing down right on top. I like to go ahead and start by lining up the top corners of your sock and then placing a pin or clip across the bottom. You can also pin or clip across the middle if you just want to hold it in place a little bit, but we are going to stretch this just slightly as we sew, so I don't necessarily think you need to do that. I just like to put a little placeholder there to remind me that that's halfway down. Now using a 1/4 inch seam allowance again, sew all the way around your sock, making sure you don't sew that heel piece together in the middle. Now you'll notice that your top fabric and your bottom sock fabric don't quite match up, and it's supposed to be that way. We're gonna start sewing just a little bit, and then you're going to grab the very bottom tip of your sock and stretch it so that your fabric is nice and pulled tightly, but not too much, just enough to where your fabric is not gonna pucker when you're all finished. When you get to that side seam, at the middle of your sock, make sure that you line those pieces up nicely and continue sewing around your curved top of your sock where your toe will be. As you're sewing, adjust your fabric as you need to and make sure to go slowly around these curves to make sure they're nice and rounded. And again, once you get to this other part of the side of your sock, make sure you have it nice and lined up together as you finish sewing. Here is mine all sewn. Now we want to go ahead and flip this right side out, and we can take that pin or clip off right there at the heel. Now we want to find the front center and the front back part of the sock top. Do that by matching up your side seams, and right there in the middle, you can either press it with your finger to make a crease, you can mark it, or I like to just make a small snip right there in the middle so that it goes through the front and back of the sock, just big enough to where I can see it. You don't want it to be too long so that it shows on your finished sock. Now get the band for your sock. This is the right side of my fabric and this is the wrong side. You want to lay the right side of your fabric facing together and meet them at the raw edges on the side. Now using a 1/4 inch seam allowance, sew those raw edges together. Now we're going to roll this up into a cuff by matching up the top and bottom seams together. Go ahead and pin or clip them together to hold that place mark. We want to quarter this off so that it has 4 equal parts for our marking places. So go ahead and match up your side seams, and then you're going to pin or clip that just like this, and then find the exact opposite side of the inside of that cuff and pin or clip that as well. Then you're going to match up those 2 pins or clips and find your 2 side pieces of this cuff. Put some pins or clips in there, and now we have this quartered off. You already have the sock quartered off when you have the 2 side seams and the 2 slits right in the top and the bottom. We are going to go ahead and match up the raw edges of the quartered off band with your sock, and to do that, put the folded side of your cuff facing the top and the raw edges at the bottom, and we are going to start by lining up the side seam of your sock with that seam of your band. Do that by putting the sock piece right inside of the cuff of your band, and then start matching up the side seam of your cuff with the side seam of your sock. Then you're going to work your way around to all 4 clipped or pinned pieces of your band, matching them up with the side seams or the 2 slits in your sock. You will notice that your sock has a little bit more fabric than your cuff, and it's supposed to be that way because we're going to sew all the way around the inside, but we are going to stretch it just like this as we sew, so that way it's nice and even and your fabric won't pucker on your finished sock. I'm going to show you how to do that here. Take one of your pins or clips out and place that right under your walking foot of your machine. Then I'm going to take the next clip out and stretch just a little bit so that as we're sewing, that fabric lays nice and together. Make sure as you're sewing that all 3 layers of your sock and band pieces are lined up together. Here's mine all sewn. Now all you have to do is flip that cuff upwards and you are finished. You can go in here and smoothen out your seams with your hand. I also like to use a chopstick, but now you just have to do the same exact thing to your second sock and you have a pair of socks. These are super comfortable, super soft, and they make great gifts. You can donate them, put them in stockings, you can put them in Operation Christmas Child bins. They are really comfortable, crew type socks.
I hope
hope you enjoyed this tutorial and have fun sewing along with me. Please, please, please like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel to see all of our easy sewing patterns as they're released. Visit AlohaSewingCompany.com, or the link is down below in the description box on YouTube to see all of our super easy sewing patterns that you can print at home so you can start to sew faster. We make sewing patterns for literally everything, from baby items, kids' clothes, decorations, holiday stuff and gifts, bags and more. And before you go, mahalo.